All right, all right. Good morning, people. Tuesday, April 17th, tax day. Sorry about the cutoff. Got a phone call. It is tax day. Gee, I'm sure the Tea Party, taxed enough already people, will be out. And business as usual in politics. The fake outrage party continues on. And some notable events that are going on today is that the Occupy movement and some other people are going to be protesting outside of the IRS. They want the top 1% to pay their fair share of taxes. Of course, the vote anchor party voted down the Buffett rule yesterday in the Senate, which was expected because these assholes are no good vote anchors that only care about rich people. They care nothing about the middle class. What I think they need to do is they need to introduce a vote for the Buffett rule, but they need to also attach a middle class tax cut to that. If they were smart, the Democrats would have done that, because what that would have meant is that not only it would be adding insult to injury, because not only would it would solidify even more, as if anyone needed more solidification of the fact that the vote anchor party, which some of you might know as the Republicans or the GOP, are purely for the top 1%. Period. End of discussion. They don't give two shits about the middle class. They could care less whether the middle class does well or not, because they're doing well. Because everyone in Congress is in the top 1%. At least on the Republican side. I mean, not saying there aren't any Democrats in the top 1%. Of course there are. I'm just saying that specifically, for sure, all the Republicans are. Although, I don't know, maybe there's not. There may be a few of those teabagger freshmen that aren't. They haven't had the time yet to scam the system and make their millions. But don't worry, it's coming at our expense. And they're worried about the GSA spending money frivolously at some conference or whatever. I think that's the least of our worries, and it isn't like the Bush administration didn't have, spending incidents themselves, or any other administration for that matter. And I think there's some organization called the Citizens Against Government Waste or something. They're going to have a dog and pony show today with some of the congressional lawmakers and some of the most wasteful projects. And you know that they're going to be Democratic projects, or some projects that the president is behind, or whatever, because they wouldn't assemble a bunch of lawmakers and have a dog and pony show if it wasn't a political opportunity to get a photo op bashing government spending or wasteful spending or whatever other crap they want to pull out of their ass, because we all know that the Republicans are just as guilty of wasteful spending as the Democrats are. They're all equally responsible, but of course that won't be mentioned. They'll just get up there and strut around and show everybody how responsible and how not wasteful they are, and that'll be productive, because we have nothing else in this country to concern ourselves with anymore than some government waste. There's always going to be government waste. It's just nature of the beast. You can't get around that. That's the way it's going to be. I'm not saying that we should accept it or that we should like it, but I think that we need to worry about certain things right now that are of the utmost importance, and our priorities should not be with nitpicking a billion here or a billion there. It should be with coming up with real, wide-reaching, helpful solutions to fix some of these big problems that we have in the country, which, healthcare is one of them, but we thought we had already made some progress on that, but of course now they're trying to roll that back. And of course, job creation is a joke to these guys. They just don't have a clue how to create jobs. And then Mitt Romney wants to talk about how the president, he'd like to tell the president to start packing and that he knows the economy and Obama doesn't know the economy. It's like, man, how in the fuck did you become an authority on the economy? First of all, are you an economist? Were you ever an economist? Do you have a degree in economics? Last I checked, you were 47th in the country in job creation as governor. Your numbers weren't out off the charts or anything as governor. You were not the best governor that the country's ever seen. I don't know where, Bain Capital, cutting thousands of people's jobs. Heartless crisis management is not really a great attribute for a commander-in-chief. You need to make cuts, you need to make decisions. You should be pragmatic, but you shouldn't be heartless about it. And being that you're a gung-ho proponent of the Paul Ryan budget, I think that puts you in the heartless class, as if we didn't already have enough evidence of that already. And then to top it all off, you're the Etch-a-Sketch guy. You don't like how if you take a position on something, and if you don't like how that position is playing in the polls or in terms of helping you win the election, then you just shake that Etch-a-Sketch up and take a different position. It just blows me away how the American people, how the fuck can people want to vote for an idiot like you? Just a joke. The guy is not qualified to be president. I'm sorry. He has no clue about the economy. He doesn't know the economy. What? Cutting thousands of jobs to make a company flush again, or to get a company being profitable again, and then sell it for a big profit to all the shareholders? That qualifies you as knowledgeable on the economy? How? I don't get that at all. I mean, if you want to talk in terms of Wall Street, then yeah, maybe you know the economy. But if you get outside the Wall Street bubble, I don't think you know shit about shit, Mitt. Mitt don't know shit from Shinola. Or shouldn't say Shinola from shit Mitt. That's what we should call him. But the fact of the matter is, the man is woefully unqualified to be president, which is why he's a bad candidate. I mean, he's had to outspend his Republican opponents. I mean, these whack jobs like Santorum and Newt Gingrich and Michelle Bachmann and Herman Cain, all these whack job Republicans, people that any real candidate should be going, how am I losing to these people? How is this even a race? It's kind of like, well, Obama must be like, how is this even a race? I mean, 9 points in one poll he's up by. He should be ahead by 15 points or 20 points. I mean, seriously, Mitt Romney's had to outspend his Republican wacky candidates like 6 or 7 to 1 in some cases to barely win primaries. And how does he think he's going to beat Obama? I mean, he's going to have to pour hundreds of millions of dollars. They're going to have to hope that they can pour hundreds of millions of dollars into the campaign, which so far I think they've already spent close to $100 million. And how do they expect to, against Obama, how are they going to have enough money that they could spend in order to overcome his shortcomings as a candidate? Boy, that guy's an idiot. Sorry, people. A little traffic issue. But anywho, it's definitely a tax day Tuesday. And the post office is under siege, which is why there's a group that I believe the Postal Handlers Union is going to be protesting outside of the post office, the headquarters in Washington, D.C., because at the end of 2006, when the Democrats had won back control of the House and the Senate, and there was a lame duck Congress, Republican-controlled Congress, should I note, they passed some legislation that forced the post office to pay their health care 75 years in advance within a 10-year time span. Well, I don't know what idiot thought that was a good idea, or why the stupid ass Democrats didn't filibuster that shit in the Senate, but we ended up with it. So now the post office is in serious trouble because they're having to fund this 75 years in advance within 10 years, and they just can't do it, even though the post office, and for those of you who don't know a whole lot about the post office, I'm sure that you appreciate the services that the post office provides, services that no other private carrier can offer. In fact, some of the private carriers use the post office to provision their rural deliveries because they don't want to, because it's too expensive for them. And the post office is already going to be out there anyway. But the post office, for in case any of you out there are not aware, the post office does not cost one penny to the taxpayer. None of the post office is funded with taxpayer dollars. It's all funded, it's all self-funded through the sale of goods and services. So why did the government feel the need to get involved and pass some screwy legislation to force them to overfund their health care in advance? And I think all one needs to do is look to who it was that passed the legislation. It was a Republican-controlled Congress. And of course, old Dumya signed it into law. And what that did is seriously erodes the ability of the post office to stay profitable. And when you do that, you then start making the case for either privatizing it or putting it out of commission altogether. And at that point, who benefits? All the private carriers like UPS and FedEx. Of course, UPS is a member of ALEC. I'm not sure if FedEx is or not, but I know UPS is. And of course, UPS and FedEx have plenty of lobbying money that it's being thrown around to try to get the post office competition down. Now, Darrell Issa, the dickhead in the House, he's trying to pass legislation that will cut 6-day delivery down to 5-day delivery, so there would be no Saturday delivery, and it would also eliminate 210,000 jobs, as if we really needed that right now. All they need to do is roll back that legislation that they passed in that lame duck Congress and not force the post office to pay 75 years worth in a 10-year span. The other thing that's sad about this is they've got over $10 billion in the pension account, which is well overfunded, that they could draw on if they could take the overfunding amount and transfer it to somewhere else to help make themselves more profitable. That would be beneficial, but the problem is those accounts are separated and they can't do that. They're compartmentalized to the point where they can't touch that money. So they've successfully boxed the post office in. Of course, unless we can take back the House and get a bigger Senate majority come November, the post office could be in dire trouble. So get on the phone, call the White House, the comment line 202-456-1111, and call your local congressman or congresswoman, as many of them as you can, and express your outrage over this. Get online, sign petitions. You can get on our website, shredoftruth.com. Email me at mymorningdrive@shredoftruth.com if you've got any stories about the post office or any input that you'd like to give on this topic. It's very important. I think that we all need to really pay attention to this, because the post office is it's in the Constitution, It's been around since the beginning of time. I mean, it's part of the American dream. It's part of the American. It's an American icon. It's part of the fabric of our country. I mean, can you imagine life without the post office? I mean, really. I mean, yeah, people have had issues with the post office. You get something lost, this or that. But overall, I mean, the post office has done a pretty awesome job throughout time. And I think it would be a travesty to let it go under. Simply when there's simple fixes available. And it's not, like I say, it's not costing the taxpayer any money. So why is the post office treated like such a pariah? Why is it frowned upon? It's yet one more thing that I believe people don't care much about it because they deem it as a quote unquote government program. So of course these teabaggers and all these Fox News brainwashees have gotten to the point to where anything that's associated with government, they just don't like it, period. Doesn't matter what it is, unless it's, food stamps or unemployment or whatever, and they need it. And then at that point, it's okay for the time that they're on it. The hypocrisy is stunning. But anyway, I'm going to have to cut this short today. Not really fired up about anything else this morning, although I'm sure there's plenty to be fired up about. I am fired up about the post office, though, and it's not cool. So let's do our part. Keep the post office rolling because it's extremely important. Very important. All right. Happy tax day. My name is John. You've been with me on my morning drive. I'm out.